You know, there's nothing like being in the green room. This is the place to be. What's up, Jerry? How you doing, my man? How you
Oh,
feeling?
hey, Shay, I'm doing great, man. It's always great to see you and that incredible smile.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Look, man, I'm not reading a long bio. We sent the bio out. They got the bio. They'll read that. They have one question on their mind. Well, two questions, really. Who in the heck is Gerry Foster? And more importantly, what is Jerry even up to these days? Well, talk to him.
Um, Absolutely, man. I'm known as the Branding Evangelist, the big branding guy. And I'm up, man, showing folks how to take what they have, scale it up, level it up, and have them put something out into the world that people are just blown away by. And so during the pandemic, like millions of us, right, we're all getting used to this virtual universe that we're all in. So I'm out there connecting with folks and giving people guidance and support in terms of how to have a big brand that can make big things happen.
You know, you talk about a big brand that can make big things happen. Take a moment, if you would, because we're going to get in some really cool conversation today. This will be a breakthrough, but we're in the green room, man. So the green room is where we get to ask any question we want, and we kind of hang out. Take a moment, if you would, and talk about what type of conversation that you and your colleagues are having now. 10 months ago, it was all about what do we do now? But now it's about planning the next 10 months. So take a moment and talk about the conversations you're having with your colleagues and the shifts that you see happening with the upcoming 10 months.
Oh, absolutely. You know, Shay, I always like to remind people that I read recently was said that there are 1.7 billion websites on the World Wide Web.
Wow.
And so one of the biggest concerns that I'm hearing from everyone, and when I say everyone, I'm talking about small business owners, which can include the independent professionals, the solopreneurs, the solo practitioners, people who offer expertise, skills, talents, and abilities, especially them, more so than the retail crowd or people who offer products. They're wondering, Jerry, how can I stand out more? How can I get noticed? How can I be remembered? And if you think about it, Shay, that's a branding issue. Because now, more so than ever before, you have to do everything that you can to do what? Be seen, be heard, so that you can then make money. And that's where the big challenge is, because a lot of them feel that they're invisible. They feel that they're just fading into the black, right, into the background because of the stiff competition.
The stiff competition. Can I just address the elephant in the room? Look, we're in a green room, so I'm just curious. This conversation, people want to know, are we going to just be talking about logo colors? Are we going to be talking about squiggly lines on certain things? I'm not trying to be funny, man, but I mean, everybody seems to be into this branding thing. And I know they say the same thing about other stuff, but I'm just curious. What type of conversation should the folks that are listening right now, what should they expect from the one and only, the brand man himself, Jerry?
Well, as you know, Shay, I'm what's called a brand strategist as opposed to a brand designer. And so just like someone who may own a house cleaning service says they don't do windows, well, I tell people I don't do logos, swag bags, tote bags, websites, and things that people can see. Because great brands are built strategically and not visually. And so from that perspective, a brand is more than a logo. It's not just about the aesthetics. It's not about the window dressing. It's not about the color, the color schemes and the color swatches. Because that by itself, Shay, doesn't give someone what's called a whole brand, which is giving people a complete reason to choose you over other alternatives. And so when people have a hard time not grasping that a brand could possibly be more than what you can see, that it can be more than a logo, it can be more than the aesthetics. I tell people, listen, take Coke and Pepsi. I doubt the Coca-Cola drinkers prefer Coke because it's in a red can, and the Pepsi people because it's in a blue can. It's what's inside the can that counts. And so what I'm busy telling folks, Shay, is what's going to be inside your can, especially now in 2021.
What's going to be inside your can inside of 2021? I can't wait. For those folks out there that got questions, for all those business owners out there, look right below the video, and go ahead and write, what is your brand? Like, when someone thinks of your brand, what do they think of? Just put that right below the comments. We've got to show, Jerry. We've got to get started. And I know we come back, you're going to talk about brand your small business like your life depend on it. I can't wait, and we got to get going. And I see folks that are out there, by the way. But before I do that, just real quick, what's your big why? Like in 60 seconds or less, for folks that are listening, like, Shay, Why does Gerry do that? Just tell me his big why before I got to listen to what he's going to talk about. What is your big why, my friend?
My big why is that I want small business owners, particularly those who are owners of service-based businesses, to be able to create an exceptional brand that will make an exceptional difference so they can live an exceptional life. That's my why.
Oh, shucks. It's all about being exceptional. For Zena Carter that's out there, boy, this is your moment, by the way. For the one and only Daphne, what's going on? Priscilla Brown Jack is out there. Thanks for joining. Robert Toro Tippy's in the house. Earl Washington's in the house. Carol's in the house. Beth, what's going on? Sandra, you are in for a treat. Look, I got a show. I got to get going. We're going to get going. We come back. Gerry, you got to break that thing down. We'll be back in 5. I love the green room, by the way. It's my favorite thing. 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back later. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there. And they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission is to provide you, that's right, you the entrepreneur, really with all those resources that are necessary to execute the big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And I always like to share that I believe you have 3 visions, by the way. I believe first you have a vision for yourself. You know, the health that you want to have, the clothes that you want to wear, the organic food that you want to eat. And it takes resources, which means it takes revenue to make that happen. And then I believe you have a second vision, by the way. You have a vision for those people that you love the most. You know, your kids that you want to send to a school of your choice. You know, the organization that you support, that you want to write a check so they can do the things they want to do. Or like me, Mother Dear. I love Mother Dear. She's probably watching again right now. 15 minutes down the road. I love taking her to her doctor's appointments. I love the fact she can order off Amazon now too, by the way. It's so much fun. But how many of y'all know it takes some resources? Don't tell her that, by the way. I got to learn how to do this. It takes some resources, which means it takes revenue. My card's on file, by the way. And then the third vision I believe you have is you have a vision for the people you were called to serve. And I like to use the analogy of Noah, right? And you don't have to be a believer, but as you're tuning in, for all my believers out there, cool. If not, you don't have to be a believer, but imagine you're Noah in the Bible, okay? And it's a true story in the Bible. And imagine that God's giving you the experience. He's giving you all the expertise. You're ready to go on this mission. You're Noah, and right before you get started, there's a knock at the door. You're like, what's going on? Noah, I got to let you know, man, there's no hammers in the house. No hammers. I got you. Noah, over here. What? Over here, Noah, what? There are no nails either. I might as well let you know there's no nails. Got it. Now, how many of you know it's that third knock that takes you right out? Noah, what's going on now? Noah, we don't have any wood and there's no people to put the boat together. Good luck on this mission. And that's you out there. You ain't got no brand, but you got a business and you need to generate some revenue so you can execute the vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And you got the one and only Gerry Foster. He says we got a brand like our life depends on it. What's up, Gerry, out in California, my man? What's happening?
Oh, Shay, man, I'm just hyena happy and peacock proud to be here, man. And what I love what you just said, because I always tell people you have a choice. You can either put out a brand or be bland, okay? Because nowadays, Shay, unless you're standing out, you're invisible. And Shay, that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
So many owners are out there and they feel invisible, like no one's paying attention to them. And they fail to recognize that if you choose to put out a brand in this brand conscious world that we live in, that takes you down one path, which is very different than simply offering services or a product. And so, as you know, I've dedicated my entire adult life to doing this kind of work. I've been doing branding my entire adult life. And Shay, I once read an article which said that the average American changes their job or career 10 to 15 times in a lifetime. I've never done anything else but this my entire adult life. I live and breathe branding. I do what I love, and I love what I do because it's all about brand.
That's what I admire so much about you. And for Peg DeShane that's out there, by the way, she says, you look like you're enjoying it. She's out there watching. Danny, what's in the house? Thanks for joining. Charmaine Vega, V-E-G-A is in the house. Thank you so much. Zanana Carter, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Look, let me just ask the question. It's got to be on their mind. Branding. Gerry, what is branding? Share your definition of branding so we can all be on the same page. For all y'all who are just tuning in, you can hit the share button. You can hit the watch party button. Matter of fact, take the link right now, copy it, and paste it into a group. Take the link right now and pay it forward to someone else. Bless another entrepreneur. You do that right now because Gerry's going to give us his definition of branding. And then I'm going to come behind him and ask him, what's the problem people have doing it? Gerry, what's your definition of branding? Talk to me, my man.
It's when someone chooses to be the honey and not the fly. Shay, come on, listen. Honey attracts. Flies chase, right? And so if you have a brand, that means that you're going to do what? You're going to put out a magnetic brand so that business comes to you instead of you having to chase after it. Now, that's a powerful distinction there because what drives that, Shay, is to understand that a brand is a promise. And what you're promising is a certain kind of experience for your customer. And you can decide what type of experience you want them to have. It could be an amazing experience, an unsurpassed experience, a remarkable experience, as long as it's not a DMV experience. You know what I mean? And so if you're going to be honey and not the fly, then therefore you have to be able to do what? Stand out in a sea of what? Lookalikes. Perceived to be the same or similar competition. And that's one of the big challenges today. Because in the midst of this pandemic, in the midst of this turbulent online marketplace that we're all competing in, unless you're distinct, you risk being extinct. And so many people are falling by the wayside because they're blending in. And so what I've dedicated my life to is showing you how to do what? Stand out, get noticed, and be remembered for offering something unique so you can then be rewarded for your individuality. You got honey and not the
be the honey and not the what?
Fly.
Do me a favor. Those folks out there right now, look right below the video, and just write those words. Be the honey, not the
fly.
Not the fly. Hashtag Gerry Foster. That's this thing about branding. Be the honey and not the fly. Hashtag Gerry Foster. Look right below the video. No matter what platform you're watching on right now, just look right below the video. Gerry, go back and see it. Put the hashtag Gerry Foster. He's tuned in right now, so he's here with you, but he'll go back and read the comments, by the way. By the way, Pandy says she's out there. She shared it. Thanks a lot, by the way. Tracy Garnett Woods says she's in Jamaica watching right now, but she knows you, so she got you in Jamaica, by the way. Thank all y'all for watching. All right, Gerry, what's the biggest problem? Before we get into how to brand like your life depends on it, what's the biggest challenge facing entrepreneurs today? They've heard about this whole branding thing before, but why are they not taking action? What's holding them back?
They don't understand what's required in order to scale. What you have to have in place in order to level up your marketing, for example, in order to have more impact. And what you have to have is a very basic, fundamental action sequence that I call the golden triangle. So if someone were to draw a triangle on a sheet of paper, Shay, and write the word brand at the top of the triangle, lower left-hand corner the word market, lower right-hand corner the word sell, there's your sequence: brand, market, sell. It's always branding, followed by marketing, followed by selling. You nail your brand down first, and then you market and sell the heck out of it. But here's the deal. They're like a three-legged stool. All three legs have to be in place. And if one leg is wobbly, if one leg is missing, you're in trouble. But more importantly, Shay, it says that they are equally important. One leg is not more important than the other. Branding is certainly not more important than marketing. Marketing is not more important than selling. Selling is not more important than branding. They're equally important, but the three have to do what? They have to mesh together, work together to produce the impact that you're looking for. And so the job of branding is to differentiate you. The job of marketing is to get people to do what, Shay? Notice what makes you different. Pay attention to what makes you different. Get people to desire what makes you different. And then in selling, do what? Get people to pay for it. As I like to put it, Shay, branding will get you known, marketing will get you found, and selling will get you paid. Amen? Don't get twisted. Come on now.
Wait. You're dropping these golden nuggets, man. You just can't do that. He started off by saying, be the honey, not the fly. Hashtag Gerry Foster. Now, Gerry, we haven't done this in a while, but you came fired up. You came fired up. So give us that last line one more time. And as he says this, someone out there, write this down right below the video. Go ahead.
Branding will get you known.
Branding will get you known. Okay.
Marketing will get you found.
Marketing will get you found.
And selling will get you paid.
I like the last one. Selling will get you paid. Someone just write down ching ching. Someone just, no, I'm just joking. We have a serious show, Gerry. This is a real serious show. But I like that. Branding will get you.
Branding will get you known.
Marketing
will get you found. Selling will get you paid.
Okay. So now you got the golden triangle going on there. For those folks that are out there, thanks a lot. Courtney Jackson said, listen, repeat that one more time. Tony Moore's in the house, one of the baddest trademark attorneys on the planet. The only reason we still exist, by the way, they tried to take us out, but we had Tony Moore in the back pocket, by the way. She went to fight. Happy entrepreneur, still alive and broadcasting. But that's a shout out to Tony Moore. Tony Moore, I had to do that, by the way. But seriously, in all seriousness, tell us that one more time and then go into the next level of what it takes to brand. So give us the analogy one more time. They say, can you please repeat that? Branding will get you known. Go ahead. You say it.
Yeah, marketing will get you found and selling will get you paid. Mm-hmm. Because we're all in business to do what? Be seen, be heard, and make money. Mm-hmm. However, within the context of making that happen, you have to do what? Separate yourself from everybody else. So the next level of that, Shay, is to understand that you have to know what it truly takes to have what I call a highly distinctive brand. Top shelf, panache, best in class, something that will be memorable, that people will want. And so you start first with yourself, realizing that there's a difference between being unique versus being admirable. Let me break it down this way. See, when I talk to a lot of people, Shay, and I ask them, well, what is it that makes you special and interesting? Why should people hire you? Why should people use your services? They start telling me about their credentials. They talk about where they went to school, their certifications, their trainings, their degrees, and on and on and on. I say, listen, if you feel the need to want to impress somebody with your credentials and your resume, tell your parents. They'll be impressed. When you come on, shit, you know what I'm talking about.
I love it.
When you're looking to get clients, all they want to know is how are you different and why are you better? Bottom line, you better hit it right and hit it correct. And so from that perspective, you have to be able to articulate quickly who are you as your identity. Because your identity is what's going to drive people towards you, right? So when you think of it that way, one of the biggest problems today is that people do not have a solid, distinct brand identity. They look like and sound like everybody else, saying the same thing as their competitor and other options and other alternatives that the consumer has available to them. Saying the same thing, looking the same way as everybody else. And you know, Shay, they call me the Branding Evangelist. So let me put it down in a spiritual sense, if I may.
Yeah, break it down. Is he getting ready to break that down in spiritual sense? You guys do me a favor for all those folks that are watching out there right now. Courtney Jackson, good to see you. Donnie, who's watching right now, by the way. All of you. Hey, Takesha Johnson is in the house. So many of you are tuning in. I can't get to everybody. Do me a favor. Hit the share button. So don't just sit back and be intellectually stimulated, because he's going to break it down and put money in your pocket. Don't hold it to yourself. Hit the share button. Hit the watch party button. Copy that link right now. Put it onto your Facebook page. Put it onto YouTube. Stick it right down in your private group. You have Jerry's permission right now. He didn't say this, but I'm sure he's okay with it. You have Jerry's permission right now just to pay this message forward. Jerry's not here to ask for a Cash App. He didn't ask me for a credit card before we got started. He didn't ask me for a Zelle payment. He's here to serve. Serve plus add value. Serve plus add value. So, Jerry, I'm going to turn it back over to you, but you go ahead. How you want to know how you give him a digital applause? Hit the share button. Hit the like button if you haven't done that right now. All right, Jerry, go ahead and talk about it. You said you got to be unique. Go ahead.
Here's the spiritual lesson here. In order for your God to get a blessing to you, he's got to be able to bless others through you. But the only way he can bless others through you is if no other business looks like you or sounds like you. And so you may live in the world, but you're not of the world. So therefore, why would you present yourself like somebody else, as if you are off the rack, as opposed to realizing that the way God made you is that you are perpetually rare, meaning that you are what? Designer made. And so if you're a designer made and feel that and recognize that, as opposed to appearing cookie cutter, as opposed to appearing like everybody else, the moment you embrace that you have something special and unique to offer to the world, then your next step is to create, Shay, what I call, I'm the only one who does what I do kind of brand. It's thrilling, it's original, and it's unique.
You're the only one that does what you do. It's thrilling, it's original. Check them out, Mary Butterfly. And it's unique. You can't leave us on the edge, my man. I know you're going to get into, you got a brand like your business, like your life depends on it. But talk about, how does one be unique? How does it be different in an environment where it seems like that someone else might be doing what I'm doing? I know that's a loaded question, but do your best if you can to kind of frame it for the person who's watching that says, yeah, but I'm not the only one, Shay, that wrote a book. Yes. I'm not the only one, Shay, that helps people build websites. Shay, I'm not the only one that does this. So what is Jerry? What is he talking about? Do you mind just kind of unpacking that for just a moment?
Shay, that's a great question, and thank you for asking that question. You have to uncover your distinct voice. And the way you uncover your distinct voice is by tapping into what's called your brand DNA. And what do I mean? Sure, there may be other people, millions of other people who do what it is that you do for a living. Like one time, Shay, someone put in a chat box, hey, I'm an accountant. There's millions of accountants out there. I'm just another accountant. And I said to this guy, well, unless you have a twin, there's only one you. No one thinks like you, solves problems like you, follows up like you. Nobody serves your clientele like you. And so you have to embrace the fact that you are designer made, which means that you have to get in touch with those defining characteristics and distinguishing qualities that make you who you are. And that is called your brand DNA. And so part of my work, Shay, as you know, in fact, the workshop that I am going to be delivering here at your conference coming up is showing people how to do what? Nail down their competitive edge, why them, so that they can activate customer engagement in the marketing and the selling that comes later. So you guys out there, you need to make a decision right now. Are you willing right now to kiss goodbye to being lost in the crowd and say hello to customers coming to you instead of you having to chase after them? Because if you are deciding strategically that you are going to say hello to people coming your way instead of you having to go after them, then you are going to make the decision to create, I'm the only one who does what I do, kind of thrilling brand, so that you can have at the end of the day what's called a standalone brand, which means that you can now start to say the right things, the right people, the right way to the right people. And that's where it all ends up. Saying the right things the right way to the right people. And you know what, Shay? Think about that for a second. Think about all these folks out here who have businesses and they're either saying the right things to the wrong people or the wrong things to the right people, right? I mean, they never get the right to the right to the right. So it all ends up not working. But if you nail down and anchor everything in your brand strategically, then you're in the best position to scale. Now, Shay, let me just say one more thing, if I may.
Sure.
Part of the confusion when it comes to branding is that word gets thrown around a lot. And as you know, I've been in this game my entire adult life and in the branding universe that I orbit in. And you know this better than anyone because you've had me speak at different events of yours over the years.
Absolutely.
In the branding universe that I orbit in, I'm regarded as a bona fide branding guy, the real deal. And what's happening today is people say stuff like, oh, I do branding, or hey, branding is having nifty design, and branding is having a website, or branding is having anything visual. So in the big picture sense, there's three basic levels of branding. Level one is what's called strategic branding. And that's where you are making sure that what's called your brand architecture is in place, which means that you are now laying down a solid, multi-layered branding foundation that you can build out from. Now, once you go through level one, then you go to level two, which is called what? Visual branding. So in level one, you are now giving your brand the strongest body, the strongest voice, and the strongest spirit possible. And in level two, your goal is to do what? Bring that to life. How do you bring that to life? Visually. What does that mean? Now you bring in the marketing people.
Ooh, I like that. Say that one more time. Get the definition one more time for level one, because I think this is very, very important for everyone listening out here. It might be the first time you ever heard this broken down this way. I'm being really serious. I mean, Gerry's making this very simple and very easy. And while he laughs and jokes, he's the real deal. And he's sharing something that, for some of you, this is a $50,000 idea, just what he's sharing right now. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So, Gerry, break down those three levels again, because it's where folks got to start. For folks that are out there, the one and only. You got Linda Clemens. You got Linda Clemens in the house watching this evening, and she's in the house. Linda Clemens, shout out to you. She said, hey, it's Linda. The way you do things, you do them. The Temptations. Take it away, Gerry. But break that back down. What's up, Linda? Got to get you on the show, dog. You know, I said it every single time.
Okay, so level one is your strategic branding, okay? Foundation gets laid, okay? So in level one, you are making sure that what's called your brand architecture is in place, which means that you are now bringing together all the key components that make up your brand architecture, so that at the end of the day, you can say the right things the right way to the right people. Now, the technical term for that is called your brand strategy. And that brand strategy is what you build out from. Now, once you get your foundational architectural work done, you are now able to give your brand the strongest body, the strongest voice, and the strongest spirit possible. Then you go to level two, which is called visual branding. So you're going from strategic branding to visual branding. And so the goal in phase two in level two is to do what? Bring your brand to life. How do you do that? You bring it to life visually. So now you bring in your marketing team, someone to do your website, your social media campaign, someone to work on your design. Maybe you need a PR program. You want to do podcasts, radio shows, TV shows, someone to set up your online marketing campaign, someone to put together your marketing funnels, and on and on and on. But the key there, Shay, is that the work that gets done in phase two has to be rooted and anchored in the foundation in level one, so that you have what's called brand congruency. And then once that work is done, then you go to level three, which is a level that has emerged in recent years, and that's called social media branding. So now you're out there utilizing the power of videos and all these other tools that are now available so that people can become aware of you. And one of the biggest problems today, Shay, is that so many people want to jump to the social media branding first, or so many people want to start with level 2 because they want to get clients, and they try this, they try that. And what ends up happening is that their marketing is not as effective as it could be because it's not anchored in a foundation, right? And so what I do in my work is I do the nitty gritty, roll up the sleeves, not glamorous work in level 1. I'm the guy who makes you eat your vegetables, Shay. That's what I do, okay? I let other people do all the glamorous work in level 2. And people appreciate that about me. Because like I said, great brands are born strategically and not visually. They're done in the trenches in level 1.
Wow. He's breaking that down for those folks that are out there, Gerry, they're listening, and they might have the question, which is, does this apply to me, Gerry? Because I don't have any products. Does this apply to me, Gerry? Because I'm in the digital space. Gerry, does this apply to me? Because I'm an expert, and so I get paid based on my knowledge, and they're listening right now. Take a moment for those service-based businesses, and I know it does apply.
Yeah.
Kind of share how it applies to them. And one of my favorite analogies I love you do is the Coca-Cola analogy. It's one of my favorite all-time analogies. But you know, you don't have to go there if you don't want to. But it's my favorite how you talk about.
No, I already quoted that one. Yeah, I did.
I know. It's still my favorite. That was in the green room, man. We were in the.
Oh.
That was not in the green room with us, you know. So
Okay.
Analogy. It's the Gerry Foster story. It's what I
Yeah.
think about every time I launch something. I'm thinking about your Coca-Cola and Pepsi story.
Okay, okay, this is good. Okay, so I made the comment that a brand is more than a logo. And if you have a hard time understanding that a brand is more than your color schemes and your color swatches and your window dressing and all the aesthetics, let's take Coke and Pepsi. I doubt the Coca-Cola drinkers prefer Coke because it's in a red can and the Pepsi people because it's in a blue can. It's what's inside the can that counts. So the question to all of our listeners and viewers here is, what's going to be inside your can? Now, Shay, let me take that a step further, if I may.
Sure.
During the pandemic, I have, like everybody else, we found ourselves pretty much isolated, quarantined, whatever word you want to use. I don't cook, Shay. Now, you may be a master chef for all I know. You're a Renaissance man. Shay Brown is like, we all want to be like Shay. I myself, I don't cook. Although I just started taking cooking lessons. Guess what I got as a Christmas gift?
An air fryer.
An air fryer. Yes.
Do the air fryer, man. That's all you need. I'm really thinking about getting rid of my stove. I'm thinking about taking my stove out and getting rid of it, but my wife won't let me do that. But I want to get rid of the stove and just use the air fryer, man. It's like totally amazing.
Shay, I used it for the first time last night. I made some chicken wings. I'm like, they were delicious. And then 2 months ago, I had bought an Instapot. All right, and I made some chili. Okay, but here's my point. During the pandemic, I have become a takeout and delivery guy. Okay? Now, one of the goals, everyone should write this down. One of the primary goals in branding, particularly if you offer services, expertise, any kind of skill, talent, or ability, you must achieve what's called brand preference. Okay? Which means people have to choose you over other choices. It's always brand A versus brand B. And one of the reasons why having a highly distinctive brand is so important today, and I'm really talking about services, but I'll give you a big picture here, is because in today's brand conscious world, people prefer to do business with a brand, because with a brand, you know what you're going to get. In other words, ain't no mystery what you're going to get if you walk into McDonald's. You know what you're going to get when you go to Starbucks versus a 7-Eleven. You know what you're going to get if you go into a Subway versus a deli shop, okay? So brands are always carving out their unique identity that says you're going to get something from me you cannot get anywhere else. That's the first thing. Now, during the pandemic, when it came to delivery, I used Grubhub. That's my preferred delivery service. Now, there's nothing wrong with Uber Eats. There's nothing wrong with DoorDash. I just prefer Grubhub, okay? Before the pandemic, just like you, Shay, we were flying all over the country, right?
Yeah.
Speaking here and speaking there, right? Rideshare. I preferred Lyft. Now, there's nothing wrong with Uber. I'm a Lyft guy. So what's my point? Branding a service is much different than branding a product. And the main reason there's a difference is because the consumer with a product, think about this, Shay. The consumer, what do we always have? We have a chance to sample the goods. We can check out the product before we pay for anything. We can see, taste, touch, smell, or hear it, right? When you're offering a service, you can't say to that person anymore, well, trust me, I'm good at what I do. Here's my resume. Let me tell you how smart I am. No, 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 no. Because one of my favorite quotes was from a professor at the Harvard Business School, Theodore Levin, and I'm paraphrasing him when he once said, when you're offering any kind of intangible versus a tangible object, whenever you are offering something that the person cannot see, taste, touch, smell, or hear, in their eyes, you're selling the invisible. You're selling vapor. And here's his quote. When you're selling, marketing, and branding an intangible, the customer does not know what they're getting until they do not get it. At which point, dissatisfaction dwells, which means they're pissed off. So what do you have to do? You have to take your intangible and make it tangible in their eyes by transforming it into what I call a able to demonstrate in a class by itself superiority that says that you can deliver value in a way to your clients in a way that nobody else can. And that's the key. Because when you can transform that intangible into something tangible through how you deliver, watch this, your unique value in a way that nobody else can, anchored in your brand DNA. Shay, this is when everybody out there who's watching this can put a fist up and go, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. That's the key when you're marketing and branding and selling services. That make sense?
Man, that makes a lot of sense. Chin-ching, chin-ching, chin-ching. I love it. For those folks out there listening to the one and only Gerry Foster, do me a favor, hit the share button. If you want to know how can I give Gerry a digital applause, like a digital applause, hit the share button or take the link and pay the link forward, no matter what platform you're on. Now, if you're listening out there and you're like, it's time to brand, it's time to feel good, then look right below the video. Look right below the video and write the words that Gerry said earlier. They still are ringing in my head. I can't get them out of my head. He said, be the honey and not the what?
Fly.
Be the honey and not the fly. Attract people to you, not walk away. And he'll be going into great detail for those of you who'll be joining us over at the comebackchampionsummit.com. Again, www.comebackchampionsummit.com. It's going down like it's never gone down before. Gerry, as we're coming down the home stretch, I know we're going to get into another segment, and I know you've been really going through this whole branding thing because it's near and dear to you. If you had to share the number one reason why, and it's unfair because you've said so many reasons, but one of the main reasons why someone needs to get started with branding today so it can help them tomorrow or in the future, what would it be? You know, they always say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next time, the next best time to plant a tree is today. Well, I think the same holds true for branding. Like now is the time. So take a moment and frame why now is the time to either get a brand review, to either change the brand, or either change your brand narrative. Take a moment to talk about that.
Yeah, that's a great question, Shay. Typically, people are in one of three spots, three situations. One is you have someone who's putting out a service or a product, and they want to put out a brand. Okay, so that brand has to be created from scratch. But then the other category is the person who has a brand, or at least pieces of a brand. However, you want that brand to be stronger. That's called rebranding, where you are now taking what you have and you are re-engineering, retooling, reimagining, revamping, and you are breathing new life into the brand so that brand can be as strong as possible. And as you know, Shay, big companies rebrand all the time.
Yeah.
It's a continuous process because you got to stay ahead of the curve. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. You just got to stay ahead of the competition. And then the third type of person is someone whose brand is stale, stuck, stalled, and in a slump. I call that brand repair. It needs to be fixed. Okay? Now, regardless of what level someone is at, to answer your question, what have I discovered to be one of the biggest challenges or obstacles is that they fail to realize that false perceptions are occurring about them all the time. Just by them putting up a website that tells them what they do, or they're telling someone on the phone what it is that you do. And what I mean by that is that consumers today, unless you seize control over how they perceive you, what they will do is they will brand you the way they want to brand you, which means they're going to put you into a slot. They're going to put you into a box. They're going to put you into a cubicle because you have allowed them to do so. So, for example, I'm a real estate agent. I put you into the real estate pile. I'm a financial advisor. Okay, I put you into the financial advisor pile. I'm a life coach. Oh, my goodness, another one of those. And so people, am I right? They'll just go ahead and they'll slot you.
It will.
So these false perceptions occur. So the reason why branding today, especially during this pandemic and everything that's going on now, the reason why it's more important than ever before is because you have to do what? Shape perceptions so they're in your favor, because standing out is getting harder and harder. It is as if you are invisible. So the main solution is to do what? Position yourself as being preeminent in your space. You decide that you are now going to claim your space and assume your throne by you deciding that people are going to see you as number one in your specialty. That ain't nobody better than you. And you have to own your greatness and affirm your greatness and then step into it. Can I get an amen out there from somebody?
Own your greatness. I like that.
Because Shay, the better that you can set yourself apart from the competition in a world that I still think is filled with more possibilities than ever before, the more you can soar. But you got to give people a reason to choose you, especially if they must choose between other alternatives. So you got to pinpoint your uniqueness. You got to elevate your uniqueness. You got to give people a reason to think of and choose you first. And so what I also suggest here, Shay, is that everyone out there, you need to nail down what I call your it factor. Your X factor as well. It's the same thing. In other words, what's so special about you that's going to wow your market so that people do not put you into that slot? And if you are a child of God, you know doggone well that you are not to be put into that slot because, like I said earlier, you were designer made. Now, Shay, that's hard for a whole lot of folks because that means you got to go against the flow. For some of you, you've been playing too small. You've been on that side of the mountain too long. Don't have me start preaching here, Shay. You need to go from the shallow end of the pool to the deep end of the pool. It's time for you to climb out on the skinny branches, step out onto the thin ice, and serve up something to the world that is fresh and original and perhaps radically different, that will surprise even your most skeptical potential customers, because you have made the decision. Ain't nothing cookie cutter about you. And what I have found, Shay, is that so many people are playing small. So what's that old cliche? It's time to go big or go home.
That's like a drop the mic moment for those folks out there. I'm hearing they saying you are designer made. They said elevate to your uniqueness. What's up? Cheryl Graham says she's loving the energy. She's out in California, which out with you. Sean Burwell is in the house. Thanks so much for joining. Joyce Spears Smith is in the house. Thanks so much for joining. They want to know where do we reach out for the brand review? What's next? What's going on? I got your note, Mari. I'm going to ask him right now. We'll skip right to that, and I'll ask him in just a moment. Who does he work with, and if he's, I'm not sure if his company's even taking on additional clients, so we'll figure that out. Who his firm works with, and then number two, how to best connect with him right now. Some of you are listening, and then Gerry, they asked the question first. Tell them how they can connect with you. Tell them the type of clients you work with, and then how they can best connect with you, so they kind of can frame the conversation. For those folks that are listening, you listen with two ears, okay? One ear you're listening with is this the right type of thing for me, for where I'm at? And that's cool. And then others, you listen with the other ear and think, I know someone, and they may not be watching, and they may not know, but I can pass this information on. And then if you're getting some good stuff right now, and you're feeling what Gerry is cooking in the kitchen, you're smelling what he's cooking in the kitchen with that ninja foodie over there, look right below the video and just put a number one. Just type a number one. That's the bat signal to Gerry that he's doing a good job. That's the bat signal that you're getting some value out of this conversation. Don't worry, I know these videos go viral and your comments will go with them, but just hit a number one. Just hit a number one. And then some of you, after you hit a number one, I want you to hit the share button. I want you to hit the link, and don't just keep it to yourself, but pay it forward to someone else. You're going to help another small business owner, another entrepreneur, another single mom, another single dad, another married couple out there that they want to change the world as well. You do that now. Please do that now. All right, Gerry, step back now and tell them what type of clients do you work with?
Yes.
And then how can they best connect with you? And that whole brand review that we kind of tossed out there. Daphne saying number one, she feels you. Charmaine Vega hit number one, she feels you. Maria hit number one, she feels you, by the way. Sherry Graham is out there hitting number one. Hitting number one on different platforms right now. And I'm just on our page. Over to you, Gerry.
I primarily work with solopreneurs, independent professionals, independent service providers, mompreneurs, people who have expertise to offer the world, skills, talents, and abilities, as I mentioned earlier. I do some work, Shay, with people who offer products, but my real sweet spot is on big branding services, okay? Because like I mentioned earlier, there's a certain way to go about doing that. The best way to get a hold of me is just send me a text. I'm going to give you my cell, okay? It's area code 310-382-6539. 310-382-6539. Just send me a text, say what your name is, your first name or both, first and last, that's up to you. And then just put in the word quiz, and I'll get you set up so we can muscle test your brand, see where you're strong, where you're weak, what the missing pieces may be. There's no obligation around it. It'll take you all of 3 to 5 minutes to really see what's going on from the standpoint of how strong your brand is. And I'll tell you this, Shay, the other trait that the people I work with, for some reason, I work primarily with females. I'd say 99% of my clients are women. And what they have in common is they really want to feel more fulfilled in their business. They have dreams to seize, they have goals to achieve, and part of their challenge is just trying to figure out, okay, how to put something out into the world that people can that will really give them, I should say, a sense of personal fulfillment and relevance that will enable you to propel yourself into your destiny and leave your mark on the world. And a lot of people, Shay, that I work with, they feel stuck. They are uncertain about what their brand should be. They're confused about how to make more money. And what I do is I become their advisor. I become the person that they co-create with. A lot of the people, I'll just say it right now, don't have a lot of money to spend. So I do work with a lot of people who have limited resources. So don't let any of that be an issue, okay? And I work with people of any age. I don't care what your nationality is. I don't care about your political ideology. I don't care about any of that. I don't care if you're married, single, got kids, no kids. I don't care what side of town you're from. I work with people who want to create that distinct brand that you're supposed to have, because it's your time to live an exceptional life.
This is your time. Now is the time. If you're out there watching right now, as you're tuning in, and you know that now is the time, I suggest one, you connect with the one and only Gerry Foster, but look right below the video and put now. Now is my time. Normally say now is the time, but no, not right now. Gerry said no, now is my time for you to step into your greatness and for you to be unique. You know, Gerry, some folks are meeting you for the very first time and they're loving the story. They're loving what you talk about. Everything you're saying is making sense. They're connecting. And I know we're off schedule. This is just something different. We're just having a different type of show. This is what we're doing now. It's Gerry Foster, all right? You got Gerry Foster up in the house.
I'm in Los Angeles, so it's 8:44, so I can hang.
You got Gerry Foster in the house. But Gerry, some people really don't know your story, man. They have no idea of the backstory. They know that you're brilliant. They know that you're bad to the bone. They know that you're bringing the fire, and it's time for them to step into their greatness. But some of them are like, Shay, I gotta go read this long resume. Can Gerry do a quick summary on who is Gerry and how did he get to where he is right now with all this passion? Do you mind giving a little bit of the backstory on Gerry Foster, the brand man himself?
Branding Evangelist. Well, I am Midwest raised and Michigan made. I grew up in Detroit. And I grew up in Detroit. And when I say Detroit, I mean Detroit. Not the suburbs, Detroit, okay? And Shay, I grew up during the golden age of Detroit, when Detroit was the 5th largest city in the United States. The auto industry was booming, and something called the Motown sound was grooving. And I grew up during the whole Motown era, and I was influenced by the Motown brand. And the Motown brand lit the fuse within me to pursue, believe it or not, this whole thing called what is a brand? And this started as a teenager. And so when I think about growing up back in the day in Detroit, when I think about how I could go to the Michigan State Fair or go to different places in Detroit and listen to or watch the legendary Smokey Robinson perform, or the Miracles, or the Supremes, or Stevie Wonder, and the original Temptations. I mean, I could go on and on and on, and Gladys Knight. Don't get me started here. And as the years went on, Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie. My point is that the Motown brand influenced me in such a way that what I do now, Shay, is that I help my clients hit the right branding chords so you can find the rhythm of your brand and dance to the beat of your market. So that's really what I do. And I left out a whole bunch of years there. I won't bore everybody with my college education and all that kind of stuff, but I will say this about that. I went to USC, undergrad and grad school. I earned my way into USC. My parents didn't have to cheat my way into USC. I earned 2 degrees, bachelor's degree, MBA degrees from the Marshall School of Business, majored in marketing, deep study in branding. And from there, I went to work for Procter & Gamble, P&G. And if you know anything about P&G, they wrote the book on branding. And so I was a brand strategist at P&G, helping to grow some of their laundry brands in the field of brand management, brands like Cascade and Aero Liquid Laundry Detergent. I worked in the citrus juice and drink industry. And I started my brand development and training company full-time, Shay, in 1985. Yes, it's true. I started when dinosaurs were roaming the earth. Okay. It was the dawn of the personal computer. Yes, I did start when I was 10 with a lemonade stand.
As my son says, stop saying 1900, Dad. They had like horse and buggies back then. No, son, there was a 1900s, okay? There was a 1900s.
Well, the great thing, though, is that I've been blessed. I've helped over 100,000 small businesses, 600 different industries, over 30 plus years. And you know a lot about me. And so I'm at a stage in my life now where I'm kind of finicky about who I even consider myself to work with, coaching, do some coaching, things that are affordable and whatnot. But the thing about me, Shay, is that I have a servant's heart. And I'm guided by the whole adage of just serving people like they've never been served before. And one of my joys is working with the quote unquote, the little guy, small business owners, right? People who basically, for the most part, they don't have someone like me to reach out to and interact with for guidance and support. And one of my favorite compliments from one of my female clients was, she said, what I love most about you, Gerry, is that you just didn't walk me to the corner and left me standing there. You walked me to the corner, and then you took me by the hand and you escorted me across the street. You never left me. And so that's kind of how I am. I'm a giver, not a taker. I'm here to serve and not get.
Serve and not get. That says so much. You know, Gerry, as I'm listening to you right now, we're moving to a segment called Today is My January 1st. And for those folks that know what I'm about to do out there, you can go ahead and look right below the video and you can write those words. Today is my January 1st. Today is my January 1st. For those folks who know what I'm talking about, today is my January 1st represents one of those moments on the calendar where you don't wait for it to say January the 1st, but whatever day it is, you create a January 1st moment. And it's one of those moments that you make a decision. It's probably 1,000 decisions throughout the day, and any one of those decisions could change the trajectory of your life. You make a decision that you're going to work out. That's a January 1st moment. Or you're going to sit back and you're going to eat hamburgers and French fries and so forth. That's a January 1st moment. Binge watch on TV. You make a decision that you're going to go to the refrigerator and open up and take out some broccoli or some kale, some Brussels sprouts. That's a January 1st moment. It's a do-over. It's a fresh start. It's your past does not equal your future. You can start right now with branding right now and make a whole change over the next 30, 60, 90 days. It can happen right now. So my question to you, Gerry, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what goes through your mind? What are you hearing?
And I'm guided by the spirit of Motown and the Motown within me, that today is my January 1st, where this year will be all about serving up something that is upbeat, uplifting, and unmistakable. And I think that for us as professionals, regardless of what we have to offer the world, because we all have to fan the flame of our gifts, I think it's so important that we provide so much value to the lives that your God, our God, however you want to frame this, allows us to touch, that we serve them in such a way that it will cause that person to have a breakthrough in whatever it is that you are able to impact. And the other part of it, Shay, for me is I think about that insanity last week at the Capitol, when I think about how we become the divided states of America as opposed to the United States of America. I think about how my work, and I'm just speaking for myself, is not only vital because it is all about your brand. I mean, in this brand conscious world, you turn on the TV, it's about your brand. You hear celebrities talk about their brand. You go online, it's about the brand. You go on to Amazon, it's all about the brand. And so I feel that God has given me this vessel and in a very unique way of helping people create that upbeat, uplifting, unmistakable vessel for themselves. And I want to take it a step further. I want it to help unify, because I think that just like in the history of Motown music, Shay, Motown music in the 60s was known as unifying music that helped our nation in a time when it was very fragmented, because Motown was sort of this cultural phenomenon, this cultural fabric that brought soul and pop music together like never before. And as you know, in the history of Motown, the Motown brand united blacks and whites in a divided country in a segregated society. And the person who inspired me was Berry Gordy. For those of you who know about Berry Gordy, he's the founder of Motown. And he ended up putting something out that changed the world, because a certain chord was struck, a certain note was hit, a certain pitch was found in the voice of his artist. And so I believe that by January 1st is to be able to have that kind of impact through my work, where I can put something out that not only can help you make more money and have more impact and fulfillment, but the other part, though, is to create the kind of business, the kind of brand that will grow in the hearts of everyone that you serve, so that the ropes start coming down. Like that's what happened in the 60s. I don't know if you know that, Shay, that they would have ropes. Whites were on one side and blacks were on the other side. And when the Motown artists would play, the ropes came down because whites and blacks want to dance together and party together. They want to mingle together. So it's all about dancing in the street, my friend. That's my goal.
It's all about dancing in the street. I love it. Today, indeed, is your January 1st. You know, we're moving to a segment now, Gerry, called Rapid Fire. And Rapid Fire is we get to ask any question on our mind, and you get a chance to answer it, or you can hit the pause button, by the way. And one of the questions I love to start off with every single time is one of our favorite questions. Of course, these are all my favorite questions, or we would not answer the questions, right? We wouldn't answer the questions. But my favorite question is, of all the mentors you've had along this journey of life that you've been on, what's one of the lessons that you would pass from your mentor on to us? Any one lesson. Now, as you're watching at home right now, and I want you to do two things. I want you to make sure you hit the share button if you haven't done that. For those who hit the share button, thank you so much. For those that have paid this message forward to your group or your organization, thank you so much. If you haven't done it, hit the share button, hit the copy the link, paste it forward inside of social media or share it with your network. Thank you so much. Gerry, tell us, what's the one lesson you learned from one of your mentors that we can walk away with?
You know, one of my mentors, and you don't even know this because I don't really go around telling people, is Stedman, Oprah's boyfriend. He is my mentor, and he's also a friend. And he and I have been working together the last 5 years. He thinks I'm the greatest branding person on the planet and blah, blah, blah. Been helping him out with a project. But I remember he and I were talking just a few months ago, and he spent 30 minutes. He mentored into my spirit for 30 minutes nonstop. And people who don't know this guy, this is a bad brother, man. He is. But he said something to me at the beginning of the year. I wrote him back and wished him a Happy New Year. And he immediately wrote back. And he said one thing after he said Happy New Year. He said, keep it going. That's all he said. Keep it going. And I knew what he meant. Because as he's gotten to know me, he knows I've had those moments when, you know, I slowed down or I got complacent or I got lazy and all of that. And so he was mentoring me about how he's become who he is and all of this. And that really meant a lot. Keep it going.
Hashtag keep it going. For those folks out there, we pass those words on you wherever you are. Keep it going, but more importantly, keep the pedal to the metal. This is not a time to slow down. I'm putting the Shay Brown remix on. You know, I'm part of the Puff Daddy generation. I got my AARP card, okay? I got the remix version on everything. Keep it going, but keep that pedal to the metal, full steam ahead. And that's what I like about Gerry.
And Shay, let me say this. I'm going to tie this back in with Motown, with Barry Gordon. You know, part of the Motown brand was that he marketed his brand as the, quote, the sound of young America. And that became what's known as your secret sauce. Remember I talked about your brand DNA, that special way that you can deliver something that nobody else can? And what he would do is he would have his secret sauce on full blast all the time. And one of his quotes, and he wasn't a mentor of mine, even though I've met him a couple of times. He once said, I wanted to have a kid off the street walk in one door unknown and come out the other door a star, like an assembly line at an auto plant. That was my dream. And I think that for many of us now, we have to begin to see ourselves as a beacon of light. And the Motown brand, and so this is kind of indirect further response to your question about mentoring, is that the impact on me, and I think you do the same thing, Shay, with your work. For those of you who don't know, Shay Brown is exceptional. This is a bad brother right here, okay?
Thank you.
And in many ways, Shay, you're like this, because the Motown brand, the impact it had on me was inevitable and inescapable. So you can't escape Shay Brown, okay? He's everywhere, okay? And so while I'm out there helping people find the rhythm of their brand, regardless of race, religion, sex, creed, political ideology, and all of that, what I do is this. The Motown music has provided me the score, the soundtrack for my career in branding. And one of my main goals as I keep it going is to expand that soundtrack so that I can reach even more people worldwide, because part of finding your it factor from a branding standpoint is standing in the question called, how can you move a mass number of people? And that's one of my goals.
Man, I love your ability to be able to capture the moment. I love the idea. Sean Barnwell, who's just taking master notes out there, by the way. I know different folks on different platforms, and I'm on the Happy Entrepreneur Show platform right now. And she's writing, walk into the door unknown and walk out a star.
Yep. Come out the other door, star.
That was a very good
Remember,
thing.
yeah, because that was part of the whole thing. Have you been to Detroit to go to Hitsville, USA, to see the houses that he bought? And it was like an assembly line. Mm-hmm. And these artists were trained, man, from the choreography. The women had to learn how to walk and eat a certain way. Oh yeah, it was a big deal. And
I need to do a little more of the history of research on the Motown and Barry Gordon. I'm getting a whole lesson on branding right here, how you're weaving that thing in there.
Yeah, man.
I like that. It's what you do so well, my man. It's what you do, and it's really what you really enjoy doing, man. What pleasure do you get? What's the most pleasure you get out of working with your clients these days?
Well, I appreciate that. I've dedicated my life to supporting owners, especially the folks who are on this call, and the folks who are going to be tuning in, listening to this, and watching the replays, because the reason I'm known as the Branding Evangelist is because of my passion and my enthusiasm and my inspirational message about branding. I preach and teach the gospel of branding. And people are like shocked when they find out this is all I've done my entire adult life. Because for me, I'm doing what I was born to do, were meant to do, and are supposed to do. And when someone, Shay, can get in touch with who they are and why they are here, and if you're purpose-driven and not money-driven, when you can connect your brand to a higher calling than simply wanting to make money, then regardless of what the storms may be, regardless of the flames that you've had to go through, the valleys and the ups and down cash flow and all the things that come with being an entrepreneur, regardless of that, you can wake up every morning turned on, enthusiastic, because you know that you're doing not only what you're supposed to do, born to do, and are meant to do, but you can do it with zest and gratitude and excitement, because you're putting something out into the world that was sovereignly set aside for you to do, that allows your name to become unforgettable, because you're putting something out into the world that cannot be ignored. And I think for a lot of folks today, when I work with them, particularly the solopreneurs, let me just throw this in for free. One of the things that I think for a lot of people is that they have not found their inner fire. They haven't found their voice. And, I had a lot of hard years at the beginning, man. I had some tough times. I can remember when I first started off, man, I thought I was all cocky. I was like, I'm USC. I got 2 degrees, graduated with honors, Procter & Gamble, blah, blah, blah. And when I went into business for myself, I discovered that I knew a lot about how to brand other people, but I didn't know how to brand myself. And I can remember the low times, man. I had moments where I hit bottom. I don't know if you've ever been there, but when I hit bottom, I looked up, I still saw bottom, okay? I ain't lying. And
I like that. That's true.
Oh, yeah.
I've been there, brother. I've been there more than one time, too.
Oh, my God, and it took me having to awaken my own inner power to get in touch with my own magnificence. And there was a moment, man, where I had a lot of doubt. I mean, I wondered, is this ever going to work? And so I stayed open. I followed spiritual direction, and I took a stand on myself to become who I was truly capable of becoming. And I discovered how to not only effectively brand other people, but myself. And the moment I started doing that, the Motown brand inside of me reminded me that I had the power to make changes. And all of a sudden, doors of possibility and opportunity seemed to appear and open up at just the right moments. And that's when I realized I can make it on my own. And I think for a lot of people today, you just have to, you got to stay with it. You remember Gilligan's Island? I used to.
I love Gilligan's Island, man. Yes, that's one of my favorite shows.
Dude, at one time, in those early years, my business was like Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island. I kept showing up on the island in the same old red shirt, doing the same things and getting the same results. I couldn't get any traction.
Yeah.
And so I would just plug away, hope and pray things would get better.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, when I got in touch with who I was, bam, that's when the shift occurred.
That's when it shifts. I love it. You know, Tony Moore out there says, I like that brand rhythm. That's trademarkable, by the way. All right now. See. Shucks. Tony, can I have sales rhythm? I mean,
I like Tony's into it. He's getting it. Okay.
You're like, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling up here, man.
There you go. Yeah.
This is.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, you got to be willing to. You got to be willing to put in the hard work, get your hands dirty, use the resources that you have available, but more importantly, stay focused, disciplined, and ambitious. And discover your purpose and place in the world. And that's where a lot of people, man, that's part of the work I do with Stepman, is helping people discover their purpose. Because a lot of people don't know what their purpose is. And when you have purpose, you can do what? You can then plunge into this emotional minefield and treacherous business of being self-employed. Because then you're going to be willing to forge ahead, risk failure, and proactively work on your dreams coming true. Even though at times life seems tough, unfair, and bruising in ways that you never thought possible. And so you got to learn how to bust your butt and persevere and make the decision that you're not going to live in oblivion. So I tell you, listen, I know everyone has their story. We all got a story. But celebrate and create a brand that people can fall in love with, cherish, and value. And when they can do that, Shay, your light will shine brightly forever.
Said by the one and only, the brand evangelist himself, the man, the myth, the legend, all the way from California, the great state of California, Gerry Foster. Maybe I get some music, man. Maybe I get some music to play as we come down the home stretch. Look, man.
My walk-on song used to be "Dancing in the Streets" by Martha Vandellis.
Oh, really? Well, next time we'll have a walk-on song, man. Next time we'll have a walk-on song when you come out, man, because you're just rocking out. First of all, I want to say I appreciate it, man. You sharing. I know you'll be speaking at the Comeback Champion Summit. I know you'll be breaking it down in the way that folks be able to walk away step by step with how they can actually brand their business. And then I know you're doing a special VIP session as well, where people can be more interactive, that they can see you and you can see them, and they'll be able to communicate with you and so forth. Take a moment, if you would, when you hear the word comeback champion. It's a loaded question. What's your definition of a comeback champion? And what's one of the characteristics in your mind? And you might have to come back as a brand person. Like you said, you might have been knocked out and got to change and rebrand. But when you hear comeback champion, here's the question. What's your definition? And what's one of the traits it takes to be a comeback champion, especially in that area of branding?
Man, that's a great question. And by the way, before I answer your question, I've only gotten one person who texted me. Courtney Johnson wants to take my quiz. Smart man, Courtney. So for the rest of you, listen, make me feel relevant. I'm sensitive here. Just text me now while we're talking about this. 310-382-6539. I'd love to talk to you. I'm gonna. How about this? I'm gonna throw this in for free. Not only will you could take my assessment, I will have a 1-hour brainstorming session with you. How about that? We'll brainstorm what you have so that we can scale it up. Okay, but you got to do it now while the offer's on the table.
Love it.
I think to be a comeback champion, I think, Shay, there's this thing that we all experience in entrepreneurship, what I like to call the doesn't feel good stuff. And what comes with that are a lot of valleys And when I think about a comeback champion, I think of somebody who was able to walk through the flames, go through the storms, and build up a tolerance for frustration to get to the other side where there is always hope and often glory. And for me, I never took the bait and went down this rabbit hole called, oh my God, business is horrible. Why can't I be successful like others in my field or people I know? Look at some of my friends. They have better lifestyles. They're doing this. They got fancier cars and all of that. No, stop. I discipline myself to not look left and not look right, or to never go down the rabbit hole of thinking, okay, I need to do something else or go get a real job. And I totally let go of this thing, as you know, Shay, called keeping up with the Joneses, where you start comparing yourself to people you know, friends, family, colleagues, whoever. And the next thing you know, you start believing that you are what? Not up to par, or that you are not far along enough. And as when I think about someone as a comeback champion, I'm somebody who discovered how to define success in more ways than simply money and stuff. And when you've been at this game as long as I have, and let me say this, Shay, I've been running this marathon for a long time, man. I'm in my 5th decade of doing this work, my 5th decade. All right. And when the going got tough, I learned how to dig deep and not allow myself to settle for mediocrity and to push through the pains of discomfort, because I always believed that on the other side of pain was something special for me to experience and or accomplish. And it required giving every ounce of energy to always cross that finish line. And when every time I would cross that finish line and then go line up for another race, I knew I was a comeback champion.
Powerful, man. Powerful. With that being said, Gerry, let me say, number one, thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show, man. You're a rock star. You played full out. We're like in double overtime now, so I appreciate all the time.
Hey, I got a few more texts. Keep them coming. All right. I'm telling. Hey, and listen, I'm going to have a brainstorm session. I'm not going to sell you anything, okay? I'm going to just talk to you. I'm a single guy. I need people to talk to. Come on. I'm taking cooking lessons. You might have recipes you want to share with me.
Only Gerry Foster. Gerry Foster. I love it, man. But you said so much tonight, man. I do want to do 2 things. One, I want to say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. You are a regular, man. Yeah, I certainly appreciate you participating and being part of the Comeback Champion Summit. For those who want to know what that is, go over to comebackchampionsummit.com. Again, www.comebackchampionsummit.com. Gerry, I want to turn over to you, man. You have a heart to give. You have a heart to serve. I want to turn over to you to have your closing thoughts, man, your final comments. Folks, right now, these lights are going to go away. And when these lights go away and we're no longer here through the power of these fiber optic lines, they got to go back to work. They got to go implement what you talked about. I mean, all of you, I suggest, because I'm going to ask him to give him his phone number again. I'm suggest that you take the step. If you haven't done it for whatever reason, you were tied up, couldn't write the number down, didn't get it, Gerry right now, before he closes, is going to give you the number so you know exactly what number to text. He's going to give you those instructions. I'm going to turn over to you, Gerry, for your final thoughts. For Peg DeShane that's out there, for Courtney that's out there, Sean, who's worked so hard, Terry, some of you out there, Beth, Carol, some of you out there right now, thank you for all the comments. If you haven't hit the share button, I'm going to turn over to Gerry. Hit the share button. You know, Shay, why do you keep saying that? Because someone out there needs to hear the message. The whole purpose is to be a platform to provide resources to everyone out there. And maybe they didn't hear about it. Maybe you're listening, you're like, wow, this is good. Don't keep it to yourself. We believe in the giver's economy. The person out gives the competition, out earns the competition. And certainly you can do that. Gerry, over to you, my man. Take it away.
Well, first off, the phone number again is area code 310-382-6539. 310-382-6539. That's my cell. Please just say your first name or both, first and last if you want, in the word quiz. I'll get you set up. and I'm going to throw in the brainstorming session. We'll talk for an hour. We're going to have a good time. Okay. Now, to answer your question, Shay, I would say this. Destiny awaits you. Your destiny is in front of you. And I learned some valuable lessons. I learned that I had to get connected with the people I needed to be connected with. Shay is a great example of that. I've learned to tap into networks of community that oftentimes we need to succeed. And more importantly, I learned the hard way that if you're going to do something, stick with it, do it well, and be your best self. And if you bet on yourself and commit to something with passion, and then give all of your energy and effort into it to pursue your fullest position, your fullest potential, and if you're willing to be a hustler, and when I say hustler, meaning you are not going to just sit around and wait for other people to create magic in your life. You bring your own magic into the world. And I also learned something else. And that is this whole thing about the thunderclouds of life. I learned, Shay, that when I was on that crazy ride of up and down, or its head spinning, I learned to put both hands on the wheel and hit directly to what I wanted. And I made sure that I got as clear as I could as to what my destiny was to be. And it was as clear as a full moon peeking over a dark horizon. And so I learned to stay in my lane. I'm a brand strategist. That's what I do. And that's what I do best. I never step outside my lane. I stay in my lane, I keep working, and I know better than to venture outside the lines. And I've also learned about the importance of character. I learned that you must do your job with humility, that you must maintain a fundamental core of integrity, and that not only should you have a servant's heart, you must be generous of heart, meaning that you must be real, you must be unfailingly authentic. Because as Shay Brown will tell you, faith, talent, workmanship, and a little grit will carry you far down the line. Not to mention grace with success. In other words, don't never get too impressive yourself or too full of yourself. Always stay humble and never cocky. And one more thing, and I'll close on this, is I've disciplined myself to sit down and keep my hands, my arms, and my legs inside the ride at all times until it came to a stop. I learned to not expect what I call instant oatmeal success. There is no such thing as microwave success. And that's one of the problems today, Shay, as you know, with a lot of young people. Ever since American Idol and shows like that were created, young people, the millennials and whatnot, they think that they can become an overnight sensation. However, do not make that lunge for that golden ticket. Be willing to stay on the cash flow up and down roller coaster ride during the tough times when you feel like you have to hunker down underneath your own thunderclouds. Know that that comes with the territory. Just remember, learn to be okay with discomfort. Things never stay the same all the time. Bad times don't last. Thank you.
With that being said, thanks so much for all of you out there watching and listening to the one and only Gerry Foster. You're amazing. Hit the like button. If you haven't done that, hit the share button. If you haven't did that, leave a comment. Look right below the video and just put great job, Gerry. Just put great job, Gerry. We appreciate you. With that being said, for those folks that are curious, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. I want you to know that you're amazing, that you're incredible, and that you've got greatness inside you. And don't forget to text Gerry, because Jerry's like,
yes.
You got it.
Hey, Shay, I got 5. The last one, she said, I have some recipes for you.
I love it.
See, I love to have fun, man. Yeah. Come on. Especially the ladies out there now. Ladies, come on now. Help a brother out, okay? Come on in.
Gerry is hilarious. Thank you all for watching. I want you to know that for you out there, today is your January 1st. You can get your brand together. And for you, the best is yet to come because you will be unique and you will be the honey and not the flies because for you, the future is bright. So put your sunglasses on. The best is yet to come. With that being said, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown. Once again, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Remember, though, time is long. Life is short. You got to live in the moment and you got to make it count. God bless. We wish you success. Thanks a lot, Gerry. Thank you all. We out of here. Peace. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
All right.
That's the promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right,
Check.
Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what.
Man.
Got money on my mind, I can never
Man.
get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there.
Yeah, yeah.
Cause all I do is win. If you doing it, put your hands.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless.